Okay, so think about this scenario.
Mm.
You're trying to help someone improve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a colleague, their performance is kind of dipped, or maybe a kid struggling with school stuff.
Sure, or even just someone you care about and you know they've got more in them.
Exactly. So what do? You could criticize, maybe micromanage, but, well, is there another way? Something maybe less obvious.
That's the core question we're digging into today. We've gathered some interesting sources, stories, observations.
Anecdotes, too.
Yeah, anecdotes, all pointing towards this really effective principle for, well, influencing people, helping them be their best selves.
So our mission for this deep dive is to get into these sources, see this principle actually working in, real life.
And figure out why it works. It seems to revolve around giving someone a certain kind of reputation.
And that reputation becomes a sort of self-fulfilling thing for positive change.
Pretty much. And the actual principle drawn right from these accounts is this. Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to.
Give them a fine reputation to live up to. Okay. On the surface, it sounds a bit simple, maybe even like you're just flattering them.
It could sound that way, yeah. But these sources suggest there's more substance to it. The main idea isn't focusing on what they're doing wrong now.
Right.
Instead, you state or just assume that they already have the positive quality you want to see more of.
Like competence or integrity.
Or leadership, yeah, whatever fits. By setting up that expectation, that fine reputation, you kind of create this internal motivation for them to be that person.
Okay, so it taps into something fundamental, like wanting to be seen in a good light.
Exactly, and wanting to act in line with an identity you've been given or you've accepted.
It reminds me a bit of that Shakespeare line. Assume a virtue if you have it not, but applied to someone else.
That's a great way to put it. You're helping them assume the virtue by treating them like it's already there.
Makes sense. And wasn't there someone, Samuel Vauclain from Baldwin Locomotive?
Yes, spot on. He observed that you lead people best not by forcing them, but by genuinely respecting their ability, showing you see their potential.
Maybe even before they fully see it themselves.
Right. And the sources suggest that once someone believes you see them positively, they'll go to great lengths. Make prodigious efforts, as one source puts it.
Rather than let you down. Rather than disillusion you.
Precisely. You hand them this reputation, and they feel, well, compelled to live up to it.
It's like the flip side of giving someone a bad name, isn't it? That old saying.
Give a dog a bad name and you may as well hang him. Yeah. That shows how a negative label can trap someone.
So giving a good name, a positive reputation, it liberates, motivates.
That seems to be the power it holds, based on these accounts.
Okay, let's get into the actual stories. These examples really bring it to life, and they're quite different from each other.
They really are. They show the principle working in all sorts of situations. Take the first one. Henry Henke, a service manager, dealing with his mechanic, Bill.
Okay, what was the situation there?
Bill was, a good mechanic, solid record, but recently his work had really slipped, taking too long, quality wasn't there.
So Hank could have just come down hard on him. Warnings, criticism, the usual stuff.
That'd be the standard playbook, wouldn't it? But Hanky did something different. He called Bill in for a chat.
And the way he framed it was key.
Exactly. He didn't start with the problems. He started by reminding Bill of his history, called him a fine mechanic, mentioned his years of good work, the compliments they'd received.
So establish that positive reputation first, based on reality, on his past.
Yes. Then he brought up the current issue, but listen to how he put it. Not, your work is bad, but that it wasn't up to your own old standards.
Linking it back to Bill's own high standard.
Right. He basically said, look, you've been outstanding, so I figured you'd want to know I'm not happy with this. He made it about Bill, the fine mechanic wanting to fix it.
Clever.
Yeah.
And how did Bill react?
Bill got it immediately. Admitted he'd been slipping, assured Hanky he could handle it, and promised to improve.
And did he?
The source says he went back to being a fast, thorough mechanic. Hank appealed to the fine mechanic Bill could be, and Bill stepped up.
That's really something. Using past excellence to fix a current dip.
Okay, let's switch gears completely. Georgette LeBlanc and Marie, the servant girl. This one sounds different.
Oh, it's perhaps the most, startling transformation. Marie was a scullery assistant, and the description in the source is quite harsh.
How so?
A kind of monster, cross-eyed, bandy-legged, poor in flesh and spirit, really paints a picture of someone overlooked, maybe written off.
Wow. So not someone you'd immediately think had hidden depths, based on that description.
Yeah.
How did LeBlanc apply the principle here?
It was incredibly simple, almost blunt. While Marie was serving her, LeBlanc just looked at her and said, "Marie, you do not know what treasures are within you."
That's it, just that one sentence.
Just that. And Marie's reaction.
Yeah.
She apparently never showed emotion, but she put her dish down, sighed, and said something like, "I never would have believed it."
Believed what? That she had treasures within. Or maybe that someone else could see them, or would even say it. It was the spark.
And that sparked the change.
It seems so. The source says Marie started believing she was this tabernacle of unseen marvels. And she began, well, caring for herself. Her appearance changed.
Yeah.
Her starved youth seemed to bloom, it says. Her plainness was hidden somehow. And importantly, people started treating her differently, with certain consideration.
So an internal shift prompted by that phrase, leading to external changes and then changes in how others saw her. That's profound.
It really is. And the outcome. Just 2 months later, Marie announces she's getting married to the chef's nephew.
No way.
Yes. And she told LeBlanc, "I'm going to be a lady," and directly thanked her, saying that single phrase had changed everything. She was given this reputation, this vision of treasures within, and she literally rebuilt her life around it.
Incredible. Okay, from workplace performance to total life change. Let's shift again. Sales context. Bill Parker and Jack, the manager.
Right. Bill Parker, sales rep. He tried to pitch a new product line to Jack, a food market manager, and got shot down. Flat out rejection.
Ouch. Common enough in sales, I guess. What did Bill do?
He was frustrated, naturally, but instead of just walking away, he decided to try again. Went back later that same day.
Bold move. How did he use the fine reputation idea to get a second chance?
He didn't just relaunch the pitch. He focused on Jack's identity as a manager. He started by saying, "Look, I realize I didn't give you the full picture earlier. Asked for another shot."
Okay, softening him up.
And then came the key line. Something like, "I have respected the fact that you are always willing to listen and are big enough to change your mind when the facts warrant a change."
Ah. So he basically said, "You're known for being fair and open-minded, Jack." He gave him that reputation right then and there.
Exactly. He painted Jack as someone reasonable, someone who responds to facts. By doing that, how could Jack refuse to listen again without contradicting that very image?
Makes it pretty hard to say no, doesn't it?
Very hard. The source says, with that reputation to live up to, Jack had to give him another hearing.
Very neat application in a negotiation setting. Okay, what about Dr. Fitzhugh, the dentist, and Bridget, the charwoman? This one had a twist, you said.
Yes, Dr. Fitzhugh. A patient noticed the metal cup holder for rinsing was dirty. Not terrible, but, not ideal for a dentist's office.
Right. And Bridget cleaned the office, but only came in twice a week. Limited time.
Correct. So he needed her to pay a bit more attention to details, like the cup holder, but without making her feel criticized or defensive.
How do you manage that?
He wrote her a note, less direct, maybe less intimidating. And crucially, the note started with praise.
Ah, like with Bill the mechanic, praising first.
Exactly. Thanked her for the fine job of cleaning she was already doing. Then he acknowledged her time limits, just 2 hours twice a week.
Showing understanding.
Mm-hmm. And then, instead of ordering her to clean the cup holder, he suggested she might want to feel free to work an extra half hour from time to time for those once-in-a-while things, like polishing cup holders.
And he offered to pay for the extra time.
Yes. He removed any barrier related to time or compensation. He framed it as something she, doing her already fine job, might decide she needs to do occasionally.
So empowered her, basically. What happened?
The results were, immediate. Next day, the office was gleaming, desk polished like a mirror, chair too, and that cup holder. Shiniest, cleanest he'd ever seen it.
Wow. So the extra time offer worked.
Here's the surprising part. Dr. Fitzhugh reported she spent none at all extra time doing it.
Get out. Really?
Really, by praising her fine job and trusting her judgment on how to maintain it while removing obstacles, she just incorporated that extra level of detail into her regular routine.
It wasn't about needing more time. It was about the recognition and the implied expectation. That's fascinating.
Isn't it? Okay, one more. Mrs. Ruth Hopkins, a fourth-grade teacher, and Tommy T.
Ah, yes, Tommy T, the bad boy.
The classic problem child, yeah. School-wide reputation, discipline issues, fights, teasing teachers, the works. Though apparently bright. His previous teacher complained nonstop.
Sounds like a nightmare for Mrs. Hopkins on day one.
Yeah.
How did she handle that kind of pre-existing negative reputation using this principle?
She decided to face the Tommy problem, as the source calls it, right away. But not with warnings or rules.
What then?
First day, she's greeting kids, giving little compliments. Then she gets to Tommy, looks him right in the eyes, and says something totally unexpected.
Which was?
Tommy, I understand you are a natural leader. I'm going to depend on you to help me make this class the best class in the fourth grade this year.
Whoa. Calling the kid known for trouble a natural leader.
Yay!
That's bold.
It really goes against the grain, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And she didn't stop there. Over the next few days, she kept reinforcing it.
Ow.
She'd compliment things he did, even small things, but she'd frame it explicitly. See? That shows what a good leader you are, or that's what good students do.
So she kept connecting his actions back to this new positive reputation she'd assigned him, building a case for it.
Exactly. Making it real for him and probably for the rest of the class, too. And the result?
Did it work?
The source is very clear. Tommy T did not let her down. He lived up to being a natural leader. He lived up to being a good student.
That's incredible. So across all these varied examples, mechanic, servant, manager, charwoman, student, the core mechanism seems consistent.
It really does. Giving someone that positive identity, that fine reputation, seems to align their actions towards it. Whether it's recalling past excellence, like with Bill,
Or seeing hidden potential, like with Marie.
or appealing to professional integrity, like with Jack,
Or trusting competence, like with Bridget.
or highlighting potential leadership, like with Tommy. It just seems to work. It gives them a target to aim for.
Yeah, it shifts the whole dynamic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Instead of fighting against a negative, you're encouraging movement towards a positive, building towards an identity, not just correcting a flaw.
Well put. It uses that basic human drive for consistency. Once you accept, even a little, that maybe you are a fine mechanic, or you do have treasures within, or you are a leader.
It feels wrong to act in ways that contradict that. You want to prove it right. You make those prodigious efforts.
Exactly.
So thinking about this for you listening, where could this apply in your life?
Yeah. Who do you interact with? Colleagues, family, friends? Is there someone you'd like to see maybe shift their behavior or reach more of their potential?
Instead of focusing on the problem, what's the positive reputation you could genuinely give them? Based on something real past actions, potential you see, a quality you admire, even if it's not always visible right now.
Could framing your interactions around that positive identity make a difference? Could seeing those treasures within, and maybe even saying it out loud, be the key?
It's powerful stuff. This principle, give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. It's clearly not about empty flattery.
No, it's about seeing potential, articulating it, and using that expectation as a catalyst. The stories we've looked at, Bill, Marie, Jack, Bridget, Tommy, they just show how wide-ranging its impact can be.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with. Think about the labels we use, the reputations we assign, sometimes without even realizing it, to others, and maybe even to ourselves.
What potential are we unlocking or maybe holding back just by the names we give things? It's definitely something to ponder.